It's my privilege this morning to introduce one of my favorite humans, somebody that, a couple of years ago, we were looking for the right person to lead our Ranger program, the Darby Project. And I put the word out and I said, I'm looking for somebody to do these particular things. And I could not have written a job description that captured Bryce Mahoney. That it is not possible to put that down on paper. But we got way more than we ever thought we would in terms of energy, spirit. Yeah. It's not your turn yet. You gotta wait a minute. And in terms of his own personal story, because he relates, as a post 9/11 veteran that had a difficult transition, he relates in a very, very direct way with the young veterans that are coming off active duty today. So without further ado, Bryce Mahoney.
Can you bring me that cup of coffee, please? So leave it up here. I'm failing already. I'm getting uncomfortable already. How's everybody doing today? Yeah. Yes. Man, it has been already an incredible weekend. If you were here on Friday, you got to be a part of our guide training and everything that we're doing here. Sorry, I unfortunately have to catch my breath from even that short little run, and I got to be honest, I'm fairly nervous today, as most people are standing in front of 25 people, 30, doesn't matter. It's more of the topic. When Carl and Candace and the crew came together for VetXpo, and they said, changing the conversation, it was like, pow! Now's the time. Now's the time to change the conversation. Bryce, how are you going to change the conversation? You're going to get uncomfortable. We're going to talk about topics today that are really uncomfortable. And I'm not up here talking like I've never experienced this uncomfortableness, or I've never been the result or the reason for this uncomfortableness. I'm here to just extend my perception of this uncomfortableness. And I want everybody to feel that. I want everybody to be here, be present in this conversation. Put your phones down unless you're recording it, because you have to. But be present for me in this time, because I want to be present for you. I want this message to come across to all of us, and all of us to leave this room charged and ready to get uncomfortable with the people that we love. Because if we don't, they're going to die, and we're going to die along with them. So let's get started. Just because I like to define things, the definition of being uncomfortable. Slight pain, physical discomfort, or feeling unease and awkwardness. Raise your hand if you've ever felt awkward with a friend, with a family member, with somebody you don't know, Like, gosh, you would think, as boisterous as I am, that I would never be awkward. But to be honest, even public speaking is awkward to me. Look at these pictures. Do these pictures make you uncomfortable? That green one should. Soak these pictures in. These pictures, these topics, they divide families. They create chaos on social media in an instant. They separate relationships. They destroy businesses. How uncomfortable do these make us? How uncomfortable do these make you? Excessive drinking. Not paying attention. Who's been out to a party with individuals or friends, and you got to the dinner, and then everybody went like this? I've done it. Everybody's done it. Relationship, suicide. Look at the icons in there. Everybody knows what those are. Snapchat, WhatsApp, innovation, ease of communication. Bullshit, that's secretive communication. If you want to communicate with somebody, you try your hardest to get in front of them. You try your hardest to feel that physical connection to them. You don't find a discreet way to communicate with them. We all have friends that suffer from these things. alcoholism, spousal abuse, receiving, giving, drug addiction, porn addiction, infidelity. Raise your hand if you know anybody in your life like that. And what the hell are we doing about it? Not a damn thing. Why? What makes us not want to do it? Because it's uncomfortable. It is like, oh gosh, I don't want to talk to my friend about his alcohol problem. Because it's not my responsibility. Or it shouldn't be my responsibility. He's a grown adult. And especially then if we're a veteran that possibly went through it, which is a very big struggle for me because I hit the bottom. I knew what it was like to be the most uncomfortable, to lose custody of my children because of my actions, to be cast out, to be living in a car, living on the couch. I knew what it felt that, and I struggle sometimes to empathize for the people that they just can't do it. They just can't get it right. But I'm so judgmental. I'm not willing to sit in that uncomfortableness with them and pull them out of it because I was there too. Just want y'all to soak these in a little bit more. Now take the faces from the people in the pictures and put the people in your own life that fit those descriptions. Burn them into your head. I mean, just talking about alcohol. 1 in 8 Americans suffer from alcoholism. That's over 15 million. 8% of them receive treatment. Now, I'll preface by all these facts and things that I found. They were Googled. I didn't spend a ton of time researching it, but the percentages don't matter. The percentages are there. And we know they're there. We understand it. We're just not willing to get uncomfortable talking about it. Drunk driving costs the U.S. $199 billion a year. It costs. And that's not even including the life that it costs, or the lives that it costs. I lost one of my best friends when I was 15 years old to a drunk driver. Crushed me. Never forget him, Anthony Hickman. Right before we all went to camp, he was down in Florida. Bam! Gets hit by a drunk driver. Killed instantly. But, bigger topic. I should have gone through those. Whoops. Infidelity. Who knows somebody that's been in here? Who knows somebody that fits this definition? Who has fit this definition? You don't have to raise your hand for that one. I'll raise it. I was. Tons of it. People are so quick to label addictions to drugs and alcohol. There's a lot more addictions than those. And they're just as sweet. Man, this is really creaky. Destroys people. Like that. And how much of it is going on? How many people do you know in your life? Because the statistic is 75% of women, 75% of men and 60% of women have either engaged in infidelity or think about it on a daily basis. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of unhappy people, because those people are supposed to be together. It's not asking single people. That's not a statistic for single people. That's for couples that exist together, that live individual lives of uncomfortableness because they're not willing to get uncomfortable with each other and say, hey, I think this isn't working. Or I want to see if this is going to work. Here's some more statistics. 5% of men said they would cheat. 3% they say they have. Women, it's a little bit smaller. So look at those numbers. Relate them to somebody that you know. Some digital statistics for you. If you think online cheating isn't a reality, it completely is. It is the gateway. 1 in 5 divorces cite Facebook, right there. Our largest form of communication today. Tell me it's not. Tell me you communicate more through Facebook with the people in your life than you do on your telephone or your text messages. Everything goes through Facebook. And now they got secret messenger on Facebook. They're trying to create this world where we communicate secretly. We've got some reasons, 9 reasons people cheat. Communication issues, that's a no-brainer. I live that almost every single day. I think most veterans do. We have communication issues. Most of the time that manifests itself in unmet expectations that we haven't told our other partner. We just assume that they know, like they're our ranger buddy or they're our squad mate or somebody in our unit. And we get frustrated when they don't meet the expectations that we haven't told them, because partly, and I say this from my personal self, my love language is gifts of service, and that manifests itself in, if I don't say anything, if I just please them by saying, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to stay out that late. No, I'm not going to go to the bar tonight. No, I'm not talking to that person privately. No, I really still do love you and want to be with you. Just internalizes. And it creates this bubble within inside of you that grows and grows. And you feel yourself starting to grit your teeth and just sucking it up. Because now you've gone too far. Now if you blow off and you let them, you let your significant other know that this isn't working. It's too late. They're like, why didn't you tell me so long ago? The uncomfortableness just continues to grow and grow and grow and grow until somebody else makes it uncomfortable for us. Cheating out of malice, out of anger, being hurt, unmet expectations, comes back to that. We're not voicing those expectations with each other. We're not being uncomfortable with each other. Business partners, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, spouses. We're not providing that level of uncomfortableness. Ranger buddies, hey man, I think you got something going on and I want to help you. I want to help you get through it. Loneliness. We were talking with an awesome gentleman later about that. But you isolate. You suck it up. You say, I don't need anybody else. I got this. Who's heard one of their friends say, I got this? I got this. Who said it multiple times over and over and over again? I wish I had this picture up. I've shown it to a few of you. But it's one of my favorite pictures to look at, and I look at it almost daily because it reflects my inner self. And it's this resemblance of a human being. His flesh is hanging off of his skeleton. I think it came from like a Thrasher magazine ad. But he's looking at himself in the mirror. And you can see his ribs. You can see right through him, part of his skull. And it just says, I'm fine. And that's what we're doing to the mirror that is our significant other. That is our friends, our brothers. When they ask us, how you doing? I'm fine. But I'm on fire. I'm on fire inside. And I was on fire inside for a long time. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that fire on the inside that you want to just out of your mouth. But you don't feel like you can. Because you don't have anybody to get uncomfortable with. Because it's also somewhat superficial. Low emotional intelligence. I'm glad Griff touched on the low emotional intelligence. I know I personally suffer from it. And it's a daily struggle. It's a daily lesson to get better at growing in my emotional intelligence. And I hope everybody took away from what Griff had to say yesterday about getting emotionally intelligent. It's so important. It's growth. It's leadership of yourself, of always harnessing that self-leadership. Boredom, loss of passion. How many have ever been in a relationship for too long? Scared people out there, that's okay. I've been in a relationship for too long. I was in my first marriage for way too long out of fear of getting uncomfortable. And now I have to deal with the repercussions of that in the fight. And if you're divorced, you understand. If you have kids, you understand. And you pray, you look at your friends out there that you see going through the same thing as you, and you want to reach out and you want to say, just stop. Just stop. Stop. But you can't, because it's uncomfortable. Because they don't know how to feel uncomfortable. One of my best friends in the world, and one of the, to me at the time it didn't matter much, but when he came back and told me about it, it really started to resonate. But I had somebody in my life come and ask me to lie for them. They wanted me to tell them Tell their significant other, I'm here. Tell her I was with you. And I said, no. I will take a bullet for you. I will do whatever I can for you, but I will never, ever lie for you. And he got pissed. He was mad. He was like, I can't believe you would do that. And we hung up, and then a couple of weeks passed, and then he called and said, it's probably one of the most honest things somebody has ever done for me. And it was hard. Like I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to be like, I got you. But I got him. Because I didn't let him do something stupid. Or I at least tried to prevent it as much as I possibly could. And I tried to prevent as much as I possibly could of what he was going through at the time. Lack of importance. And partner wants out, but doesn't know how to say it. Those are kind of the last reasons why people cheat. The partner doesn't know how to say that they want out. Again, I'm sure a few of us have been in relationships where we just don't know the way out. We really don't. And I'll say, here's the list of them. But I say this is the biggest reason right here. Men, women, it's all of us. It's not just the males, but unfortunately it's more the males. So here's some statistics. 2 out of 3 men admit to watching porn, 1 out of 3 women. 1 out of 3 women. And I kind of agree. Fess up, ladies. I know you guys are watching more porn. But this isn't the real statistic that should bother you. These aren't. These should bother you. Teens and porn. I know it's kind of small, but the biggest one on here is the fact that only 3% of boys and 17% of girls have never seen pornography. That's the part. Like we can go through what they've seen, where they've seen it, how long they've seen it, but the fact of that's the statistics of the people that have never seen it. That needs to be higher. Because this is only setting the pathway for incorrect behavior. You guys agree with that, right? Yeah, where's my parents? We fight every single day now. Tablets, mobile, it's in their hand all the time. I try my hardest to keep my phone out of my hands so that my children don't see it as a normal. But I'm very guilty of it. I fail every single day to get off the phone so they don't see it. So that when I yell at them, in a way that Kirk explained yesterday, they're looking at me like, you're doing the same thing. I'm just following your lead. So if I want them to get off of, if I want them to avoid porn, I need to just get off the phone myself. I need to set that standard. But what are we doing about it? Why aren't those topics the ones that are inundating our Facebook pages? Why aren't we on a strike against porn, one of the largest industries in the world? Why aren't as parents we doing better jobs at helping the internet, the net nannies, or the whatever's out there to help block this stuff from them? Or to make it so that they never see it, or that the culture of it doesn't bleed into Nick Jr. and all of the other channels. Because I'm sure parents, you parents out there have watched. You've watched the shows that involve the kids, the real kids, not the cartoons, because it's harder to relate, and thankfully SpongeBob is a fake person that doesn't live, there's nobody living in a pineapple at the bottom of the ocean. But, yep, sorry. Yep. There is a Santa Claus, though. There really is a Santa Claus. I just have his flannel right now. But real actor kids, watch the shows. If you're not watching the shows, you're missing out. Because these kids treat the parents like shit in the shows. They're the dopey parents. Oh, what can I do for you? And I see it emulated in my own children when I get frustrated and just watch Netflix for a little while. This is too uncomfortable for me. This is too much father for me right now. I need you to just go and watch those shows. And then you start to see the patterns in them, and you're like, wow, where did that come from? And it's the shows on our TV that watch. What can we do about it? I ask you today, think about that. Think about what you can do, the tiniest bit that you can do. One of the greatest things I've done recently for myself was I created an electronic charging station that's outside of my bedroom. And I have to thank Simon Sinek for being the catalyst of starting it, because in that really famous video that he had, he's sitting down and he's talking about a lot of the things that he talked about on the video he gave us. One of the topics was like, well, I got to have my phone for an alarm clock, And he's like, go buy a $3 alarm clock. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So now I have my phone outside of my room. So at 8 o'clock every night, my phone, my watch, my iPad, they go on the wall, and I go to my bed. And I use my standard alarm that sometimes I want to throw across the wall because I get up really early to do PT. But even just that small piece of detaching myself from my phone, how much presence that gave me was, it was instantaneous. It was that fuel. It was the fuel in the gas tank that we're all searching for. I challenge you, the next time you go out to dinner, as hard as it is, and trust me, it is hard, leave your phone in the car. Or at least one of you leave your phone if you're going as a couple. There's nobody's reaching out for you. Unless you're like a fireman or somebody that's on call, then please don't do that. But nobody's buying for your attention. If you feel like the phone, if you feel like your emails are swallowing you whole, create some structure in there. People make fun of me all the time because I have this voicemail that says I talk on the phone from 1 to 6. If you haven't called in that time frame, then I'm not. We're gonna talk tomorrow between 1 and 6. And people are like, oh, look at Mr. Fancy. It's like, no, it's not. It's not fancy. It's respect. It's presence. It's presence in the conversation. And I'm not the greatest at it. The team, the Gallant Few team, the volunteers, they catch me all the time, and I'm thankful that some of them still get uncomfortable with me. But I try to be as present as I possibly can on those phone calls, on those engagements. And it's the best we can do in a virtual world right now, is to be present on that phone call. Because I'm sure people have felt it. You're talking to somebody on the phone and you hear that subtle movement of computer clicks. And unless they're a stenographer, they're probably doing other things. Or if you're in meetings and somebody's up presenting and you're on Facebook, or you're looking at something else completely unrelated. Why are you even there? I'm guilty of it. I don't want anybody to think that I'm getting up on a bigger soapbox or stage, but we all know it. I'm getting, this uncomfortableness bleeds through me because it only highlights the things that I know, that I experience, that I am a part of, that I am the reason that happened. And I feel that everybody can be convicted the same way. So I ask you, what are you doing about it? Where's your team? Where's your circle? Where can you make the difference? That's the bigger part. Where can you make the difference? Is it to our country? Is it to the world? Some of you can. Some of you have the capacity to make a difference for the world. But some of you have the capacity to make a difference for your circle. And that's as far as you can go. Right now, you're so stretched out already. But you can reach this way to grab somebody else right around you. And unfortunately, social media tends to do a leapfrog over top of the people that live right near us. I think if I looked at my Facebook feed, the people on there, that live the closest to me would be at the very bottom. So I have to go through so many people that don't even live around me that I don't really have the best connections with outside of the web to really engage with. So who is your circle? People in your life. They say 1.5 of them live with you. They've seen you at their worst. They've seen you at your worst. I have those people in my life. My best friend, John Risley. We've seen each other at our worst. And unfortunately we don't We don't live the same place geographically, but when we come back around, it's perfect, you know. We've seen each other at our worst, we understand, and we get uncomfortable with each other. Not in that whole Brokeback Mountain way that all of you think. Top 5 are your intimate life partners. People you call with news, people you call when you're stressed. Contact them weekly. They're kind of on the outer web of the 1.5 people that don't live with you. Can you think of those people in your mind right now? Can you think of those relationships? Can you think of instances in those relationships where you possibly could have gotten uncomfortable with them and maybe changed the course of a decision in their life by just being like, oof, I think we should stop that. Hey man, I think you have a drinking problem and I'd be willing to help you out. Or you need to stop cheating on your spouse. I know about it. And I'll help you find, I'll do what I can to help you find the help you need. Or to get uncomfortable with her about what needs to change in your relationship. Or him. I don't want to put it all on the men. But that's the top 5. Top 15, they're your very good friends. They're your sympathy circle. You can trust them. But you contact those guys monthly. You know, they're for the important stuff. They're probably the people that you're like, hey, join my Run Ranger Run team. You know, that you talk to monthly. And then the top 35, they're people you would send a Christmas card to. Most of them are probably just that you have the contact. You have their most updated contact in your phone, and you've ordered 50 cards from Amazon, so you got to send them to somebody. Who wants empty Christmas cards? Because you can't use them next year. That would be tacky. My mom's a huge Christmas buff. She's probably got a Christmas meter on her Facebook right now, and I had to deal with that as a childhood, so it bleeds over. But think about those people in your life. Think about where you provide the most level of influence. The biggest level of influence for me was when I got involved with a men's group called F3. It stands for Fitness, Fellowship, and Faith. Because see, I was still shrouded around where are my veterans? Now, get out of the way, civilian. I don't need you. I need my veterans. They're going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me what to do because you don't know what I've been through. Which, not much. 6.5 years in the military. First enlistment. Just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But I joined F3 after a lot of, as we call, emotional headlocking, which means he asked me, I said no. He asked me, I said no, which went on for a couple of weeks until I finally said, all right, shut up. I'll go with you so you stop asking me. And it was the greatest decision I ever made. And the constant ask, the constant headlocking was that uncomfortableness because he didn't stop. He knew I needed it because he was my friend. He saw that I was struggling. He saw that I was missing something. And I went, and F3, you start out as a friendly new guy, an FNG. Yeah. Yep. The rules around F3 are it's free to men, rain or shine, outdoors. It's led by a volunteer, and it ends with a circle of trust. That's a prayer in the South. It's just a fancy word for prayer. I've been to F3s in Seattle. I've been to F3s in Savannah and a bunch of different states, and they all pretty much do the same thing. The guy volunteering it feels like he has to beat the shit out of everybody, so we end up doing like 4,000 push-ups or versions of push-ups, and then we all circle up, and that's when everybody that's been there before gets to say their nicknames. And this particular morning that I went, it came to me, and I got it just so happened that one of the founders of the whole movement was there, and this was 2012. He said, I know this guy's background. I think I had my 375 sweatshirt on because it was really cold out. I think it was March. He said, this guy's going to be named Darby. 2012. So I was like, okay, cool. And this was right at the time that I had separated from my first wife and lost everything through the process, through my own choices, and was in the bottom, lived lived in my car for a little while, lived on a buddy's couch for a while, and I was surviving. I was in it. Like, this was the stew. This was the uncomfortableness. But F3, that constant connection, that constant accountability, just show up. Just come out here. Just gave me a little bit more and a little bit more every single day. Started to crawl back. Got a really unique opportunity to go down to Costa Rica, where I met my wife, and I almost did it. I got scolded very bad, and see, that was great. That was an uncomfortable moment because I needed it. My wife. There's no current, it's my wife. So thank you. Yes. And she's going to kill me for this. I met her there, and prior going down to Costa Rica, I found a book, and it was called Lying by Sam Harris, which is funny because Sam Harris is like one of the largest atheists, or the most well-known atheists of our time, or this time. And I read this book, and it helped me categorize what a lie was. Lies of omission, lies of admission. We all had those guys in the military that every time you told a story, their story got bigger. Their story got harder. Ranger school was harder for them. RIP was harder for them. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it would be like to take horses out to Coal Range. But, man, I forgot where I was going with that. Lying, yes, thank you. That was good. It would help me really understand, what was I doing? I was omitting information. Just like we do when we're unable or unwilling to be uncomfortable with our friends. We're omitting information from them, when we could really talk to them like this. This is how, if I had a perfect world, we would talk to them in this manner.
A little frustrated at the moment. Also equally depressed and pessimistic about our date tonight.
Sure.
Imagine a world where everyone can only tell the truth.
I had a little sip of this from right there.
I'm with him right now. Seems nice. A bit fat.
She's way out of your league.
No, I won't be sleeping with him tonight.
About everything.
I loathed almost every minute that I worked for you.
All the time.
I've always hated you. You've always hated you. I didn't know that. Yeah, a lot of people know it. I really wish you could change things.
How much are you going to be withdrawing today, sir?
$800.
It says here that you only have $300. It seems our system has made a mistake. Here you go.
Today, I stumbled upon something that no man has ever stumbled on before. The world's first lie.
This fall.
I said something that wasn't.
Huh?
I'm black.
I knew it.
I'm an Eskimo.
Fantastic.
I'm a one-armed German space explorer.
When's your launch date?
Mark Bellison will discover.
I can have my life the way I want it. Your losers doesn't really count.
Good. I settled then.
The truth.
I'm different now.
Are you better looking?
No.
Did you buy new clothes?
No.
Have you been to the gym?
No.
About lying.
Why do you hate Mark so much?
Because he's a loser. You want to marry a strong genetic match and maybe one day have children that aren't...
Little fat kids with snub noses.
Exactly.
If you could make the world the way you wanted it to be, if you could do anything, what would you do? The world's gonna end unless we have sex right now.
Do we have time to get to a motel, or do we need to do it right here?
Ricky Gervais, Jennifer Garner, Jonah Hill, Louis C.K., with Rob Lowe and Tina Fey.
Do not have sex with anyone unless you are married to them, is the rule.
What's this?
Birthday coupon for sex. What am I gonna get you now?
But hold on now.
The invention of lying.
This is the greatest movie ever made.
And I'll finish with a challenge for you. This statement. What can I do to make a lasting impact in my community? No matter how small the task, no matter how small, start with your circle, start with your people. Get radically honest. If you don't believe or you don't think that the ship is going in the wrong direction, then you've got to wake up, because our ship is going in the wrong direction. And that's where it starts. It starts with yourself. It starts with a diligent positive and intentional effort to continually grow yourself, to be vulnerable to the uncomfortableness, to be ready for the challenge. And I use a Bible verse, 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Think of that every day. 1 Peter 5:8. It is at your back. It is at your doorstep, waiting for you to get complacent. We all talk about it in the military. Complacency is the devil. Think of that in your civilian life, and let's start getting radically honest and uncomfortable with the people that we love and hope that they do the same for us. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for letting me ramble up here, and I look forward to continuing the conversation today and going into the future. So thank you guys.